Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Krista White. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Crow Canyon, and we've got a great webinar planned for you today on how to automate tasks. And we're going to be focusing on leveraging M365 and Teams to maximize business performance. This is an important topic that we get a lot of questions about. I think we're all, of course, looking to make our organizations as efficient as possible. So I'm not going to spend too much time before I hand things off, but couple things before we get started. This will be recorded and it'll be uploaded to our YouTube channel as well as our website. So if you'd like to reference this afterwards, you'll be able to access it there. And if you've registered, we'll also send you the recording in an email. And we definitely encourage questions on this webinar. We're here to support you. We want to hear from you. So if you have any questions as we're working through, go ahead and pop them in that question box. And if it's anything more in depth, we can always follow up with you afterwards, but we're very much here for you. And lastly, this will be a high-level overview, of course, of how to automate tasks. There are so many things you can automate within your organization, and each organization's a little bit different. So we could easily spend weeks on end just talking about all the different kinds of automation there are, but we'll keep it more high level today. And again, if you'd like to talk about specifics for your organization, maybe where to start, anything like that afterwards, we're here for you. Just shoot us an email. Now, with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our CEO, Scott Restivo, and we're also joined today by James Restivo, our VP of Product Development. And as I mentioned, we are Crow Canyon Software. We've been in business for 25 years, GSA certified, we're a Microsoft Preferred Business application, we're a California certified small business, all that good stuff. But this isn't really about us today. This is about focusing on automation. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and hand things over to Scott. Scott, what do you have for us?
Oh, thanks, Krista. Thanks for the introduction, and welcome to James also, and welcome to the people who are attending. Thank you very much for attending. We're going to talk about automating tasks, making your business or your organization more efficient. What we've done here at Crow Canyon Software, we use this concept of business process automation, but now with the AI elements, we're calling it intelligent business process automation, and mostly focused on in the Office 365 Teams and SharePoint world. Now, we do run in SharePoint on premises. We were there many years ago and still have those programs going and updating them. That's SharePoint 2013, 16, 19 SE if you happen to be using on premises. But we're finding many customers are on the Office or M365, Microsoft 365, Office 365, whatever you want to call it, in the commercial cloud, which is where most people are, but also if you're in government on the GCC and the GCC High. We have our applications, we have our NITRO Studio, we have our chatbots, and we'll show you some of that today. The basic formula that we've been working with is this BPA plus AI equals IBPA, Intelligent Business Process Automation. The idea is that you can automate so many processes and have them running much more efficiently using Microsoft 365. A lot of people get on Microsoft 365 or SharePoint for that matter, and like, okay, this is good. What do I do with it? How do I make it work? Where's the rest of the, oh, there they are. Everything's coming in slowly. Okay, there we go. So what we're talking about is replacing outdated solutions. A lot of people are running solutions that may have worked in the past, or maybe they have a new process and they haven't implemented a really efficient way of doing it, or maybe somebody developed the program years and years ago and that person has left the company or will retire soon. So a lot of people, tend to rely on email and we see this all the time. We had an insurance company lately that was getting web forms would be sent into email, going into an email inbox, and they would be stacked up there and no one knew quite who it was assigned to it. Even though it was a shared mailbox, they didn't know who had attended to it. And this is a common problem when you use email as your task management or request management solution. You don't know who has it. There's no visibility. It's hard to collaborate. It's notification. It just gets really wonky. And this insurance company was losing maybe 10% or more of their quote requests, which of course amounts to money, because an insurance company, you get a quote, you get a customer, it's recurring revenue. Well, the impact to them was quite significant. But when they got into a more managed request system on Microsoft 365, they're able to take each request coming in and attend to it properly, make sure it was answered in an appropriate time, and who did the answer, what the answer was, and all that. And we'll go into that more. People use paper forms. That's obviously outdated because it's not digitized. There's legacy systems. One thing we do a lot of work with recently, over the past few years, and it's still happening, is replacing InfoPath forms. A lot of government agencies are still using InfoPath, a lot of other organizations. Well, Microsoft ended development of that 10 years ago, but here you go with what we call institutional inertia, where people keep using programs they're familiar with, not realizing they're missing out on a lot of the new technologies with cloud, mobile, and now even AI, by moving off these legacy systems. And some people have enterprise software that's expensive or overkill, feature overkill. Now, any of our attendees may be encountering these problems. So hopefully this is relating to some kind of reason you're coming to this webinar to find a better solution using Microsoft 365 and SharePoint and Teams than to use these systems that may have worked in the past or may not have, or weren't really that efficient, or don't use the latest technologies. It's time to move off them. And almost every, I wouldn't say almost, I say every time we've implemented these systems for people, they've been a lot happier and realize, why didn't we do this sooner? Why didn't we do it? Because they gain a lot of benefits in speed, efficiency, the transparency of the request, and they gain in profitability because they use their time's used more effectively. They have more confidence that they're going to respond to whatever kind of request or task it is in the appropriate time span. A lot of great benefits, and it's just, it's how it is with all of us in our lives. It's like we sometimes are so used to doing things that we've done in the past that are habitual that now it takes a little bump to move us off that kind of comfort zone into something else. But in a business, it's something where you have to do it or you're going to fall behind and be using resources inefficiently. Anybody's paying attention to Microsoft and OpenAI and all that recently, they're coming out with everything so fast and furious. We go to these shows. We're going to the Seattle show next week. We go to New York in July. And we go all over the place talking to Microsoft and the MVPs at all these SharePoint and Office 365 shows. And even us who do this all the time, things are coming out so rapidly, it's hard for anyone to keep up. But a lot of new and exciting things, and it's a time when you really need to be innovating and changing and growing and making moves in your company to adapt to not only what's coming out as far as more efficient, more AI oriented, or more using Microsoft 365 and Teams in a better way than other times. Sometimes you can kind of linger for a while, but other times you got to be changing rapidly, because if you're not, we're already seeing a lot of our customers are moving in that direction. We're developing AI tools, ChatGPT and NITRO. We call it NITRO Copilot. We're doing a lot of work in that direction. It's really exciting. All right, where do tasks come from? The task, again, it could be a request from a user. We have many ways that those requests can be generated, and we'll show you that in a moment. A project that you start could generate a bunch of tasks. You can have planned maintenance where you have scheduled tasks that are every 3 months, every 1 month, something has to happen, or just out of the blue, something comes up and you need to attend to it. So the thing is, okay, how did they get entered into the system? How's the task created? A lot of times people are using email. Well, you can still use it in our system, and that creates a task, but now they call a request or a ticket or an item in a SharePoint list that has to be addressed and approved, assigned, fulfilled. We have texting capabilities. You can use a web form. You can use a portal, like kind of an intranet kind of portal. We have our NITRO forms running in SharePoint. We have our NITRO Engage bot running in Teams. So any one of these, or all of them, or any combination of them, can be used to create the task. So a lot of times we find that people who are used to using email will continue using it, but now instead of going to an inbox, it goes into the SharePoint list. And then gradually you can start to implement these other ways, maybe the SharePoint form or the Teams bot, and see, it depends on the attitude and tenor or culture at your company as to what's going to get adapted. But you don't have to jump all the way from, say, basic of sending an email to using a Teams bot all at once. It can be a gradual shift and change as people get used to it. So it makes it very easy to change from the old systems to that. Then when they come in, it has to go through the workflow of approval, assignment, fulfillment. Now, there are cases like incidents, like help desk tickets, and we have a help desk program that can be used, which is an incident that needs to be fixed right away. It doesn't necessarily need approval but it just needs to be, something's broken, so go fix it. But now we're talking about what I call forms-based, process-driven, meaning that these things require a certain prescribed process for fulfillment. That's why you have a paper form or other forms like that they're using in the past. Well, now we have the electronic forms, the NITRO forms, the Engage bond, taking the same idea that you take in a certain set of information, and maybe it goes through an approval process, maybe it goes through a maybe not an approval, it may be just directly to getting a sign and then fulfilled. So it's quite a simple process in some ways, but in other ways there's a lot of nuances to it at the same time, and we're able to adapt to all those using our workflow tools and our actions and our forms. Why use 365 in Teams? We've done surveys of our customers, and they have pointed out these two things. There may be other reasons why you think, or there are other reasons why to automate. But one big thing is that there's a single sign-on. People are, and along with single sign-on, is they're used to that familiar environment of using Microsoft 365, and whether it's whatever tools they're using in there, Teams, SharePoint, whatever. It's Microsoft 365 is the environment they're in quite a bit during the day. So instead of having to manage other logins to other systems and other, this single sign-on, it seems quite important as a factor of using M365, as well as Teams integration. Those are two. There's many other things, how easily you can automate, how you can build workflows on top of M365. These kind of stood out, so I just want to point that out. In putting tasks in the organized system, changes from chaos to the clear assignment, the reminders, and it gets unstuck. This whole idea of accountability. So what do we do to help that happen? Well, we run in the Microsoft 365 and SharePoint world. We combine SharePoint and Teams together in what we call NITRO Studio. This is the NITRO Studio logo. We've been developing it for the past 5 or 6 years. It's a platform on top of 365 that gives you all the power you need to build request management systems and fulfill these kind of workflows. Now, the simplest kind of workflows are there's a request, approve, fulfill, a request, assign, fulfill. And then I was talking with Krista a little earlier about some of the other things that we've done kind of with these workflows. If your workflow is more complicated, here's just some examples I pulled out of the the archives or something. Maybe you have something like this and you want to implement it, without looking at the specifics, you get the idea of how complicated. Here's another even more complicated thing. So don't worry if your workflow is at that level. We can bring it into our NITRO Studio and using the M365 to automate the whole process. So not everything's as simple as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's actually can involve much more complicated stuff. So where are we right here? So in NITRO Studio, we have a forms designer. We have all these capabilities of the form designer. They're dynamic, responsive. We have custom actions, repeating rows. I mean, many, many factors we put together to make it so that the request and task management is as simple and efficient as possible, that you're taking in information you need from whatever source. It's going into a unified place where it can be, everybody can see it, and everybody who needs to, managers or whatever, see the status and then go through approval, assignment, and fulfillment. Or if it takes a more complicated route, like I showed you some of those workflows, we can implement those too. So a big part of NITRO Studio is also our workflows and custom actions, workflow manager. And the workflows can automate all kinds of workflows, and custom actions can automate all kinds of processes that move the task and request from beginning to completion. Now, this could be a very simple thing, or you may involve, most commonly there's approvals, escalations, auto assignment, task management, notification alerts. That all goes along with it. But some people want to integrate with external systems, like say you have HR, purchasing, finance systems, or maintenance system, or whatever, database equipment or something. You want to integrate the task with that and make it part of a larger ERP or line of business process. You can do that too. So all kinds of things. You can design things with our visual forms designer, and I'll get into the demo in a moment. The other things we can do in our NITRO Studio. So we pull together all these capabilities and features on top of SharePoint, on top of M365, to give you the power to move off those outdated solutions, which are inefficient and don't leverage the latest technologies and are keeping you behind, your organization behind, and bringing in this new technologies that are coming out that can be incorporated right into into the Office 365 world. So let me bring over this and start talking about some examples of what can be done with request management. So what I want to show here is that instead of just having a bunch of tasks in your email or in a spreadsheet or in paper or something, you can start to see in different formats, like a dashboard of what's going on. What's important is to see the status of things. How many are open? How many are unassigned? How many are overdue? Well, with this kind of manager type dashboard, you're getting, and you can arrange these. These are just SharePoint workspaces where you can arrange them in different ways you want. We can provide this request manager right out of the box. It includes NITRO Studio as an underlying foundation tool of this request manager. That's what produces the reports and the forms and all those things. And you can have all this capability to have insights into what's going on in your system right away. Now, if you don't want that, you just want to go to see the list of requests. You can get your whole list of requests right here. You can group and sort them many different ways. See which ones are open, which ones are unassigned, which ones are overdue, and then you've got, here's one overdue right here. Here's the ones that are unassigned. Here's ones that are all open. You have quite a bit of visibility into this right away. And then you can even come in here and filter this by saying, give me all the ones that are unassigned, all the open ones that are unassigned. Different ways you can quickly and easily group, sort, and give you a handle on what's going on. Now, this is not just done by you looking at it. There's a lot of automation going on behind the scenes. So let's start at the beginning and go through it. So somebody could create a request through email. We even have texting. It's not used that often, but it could be used. If you have a texting, you can text in a request. You could use a web form. You could use a portal. You could use a mobile device. You could use a SharePoint form like this. Just go here and create a new one inside of here. You could go to the NITRO Engage bot, and we'll show you some of those features coming up. But here is the NITRO form. If somebody's inside of SharePoint and they want to make a request, they can just open up this form and see it. And then this form is designed in our NITRO form designer. And then you could have all these, the user can fill it out. They already know who it is and what the email is, and the phone and department can all be in, who the manager is. That's one way to go about it in that way. There can be different kinds of forms. We have, for instance, an access request form. If you do a new item here, it looks different because it's a different kind of request. So see, the form designer can adapt to your particular needs and requirements of the environment you're working in, what kind of request you're trying to make, whether it's HR or access. This means access to like a database or a facility. See, this one looks a little different, and we get more colorful, we get more elaborate. We can put, different kinds of buttons on it for actions. We can have related tasks that are related to the request. You have signature pads. This tab was just to show different design elements of our NITRO form. I just want to show flexibility in what this form can look like. Not only is it flexible, you can also do things like have, if it's, say, the category is database, you notice there's no SQL tab up here right now, but if I do go to SQL, now you have an SQL tab and you can fill that information out. Just little things like that make it a lot easier for your users to fill out the request and get the information you need. Another one is, say you're going to you're going to add permissions. Now it's, the dates of access, the start date. So the idea is that you're going way beyond paper forms, way beyond what's possible in email. Now you're doing things that are very dynamic and able to adapt to in real time to whatever kind of request and whatever kind of type of change, whatever is going on here, whatever it is, whether it's access change or leave request or purchasing or something like that. You're now getting it much more organized. You can do things like have a contractor database and pull in information about the contracting company. This, hopefully it's stimulating some interest and ideas in your head as to what can be done and how we can do it. And you can take from a simple kind of, maybe it's somewhat organized email, but not anywhere near the kind of capabilities that this kind of program has. Now, what you might have something else. Here's just other examples of the kind of forms we can put together. Here's a corrective action form. And what we do is we get, paper form or some existing form, info path form even, from the customer, and then we say, okay, here's the kind of information we can put in. And this, look at this one is quite, I hope it's large enough for you to see, but it's, what kind of test, what's the incident number? I mean, this just came from a customer's need. They want it to be somewhat close to the paper form, but it's a lot more powerful because you can put a dynamic functionality in here, and there's other things we can do. We have a whole gallery of form designs we can do because our NITRO form designer is very, very powerful and capable of doing that. See, here's one that's even more interesting, just to do it. Now you've got this inside of SharePoint, inside of M365, and then when it's submitted, it can go right into the list. And this is, here's your access request list, for example, and the form opens up and you have all this. Look, I know this has a lot on it. It's a demo. I wanted to put a lot of things on it. You could make it simpler or lay it out differently, like some of these other forms we were just looking at. But this gives you ideas that, you can automatically escalate it. You can assign it to self, submit for approval. Whatever kind of custom action you want to put behind it, you can do. Make it more powerful. You can also create associated tasks with this request. Really gives you a very powerful system. And if we go back to the, the manager dashboard, you start to see that you can build these dashboards that give you really good insights into how the progress in real time is of these requests and where they're being stalled or stagnated or not being addressed. And then when people come to you and say, whatever happened with the request I made last week to get access to blah, 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 well, everything's right there. But not only that, the system can be set up to notify people regularly when a status change, when an item's not been modified for quite some time, when there is delays. You can set SLAs and say, what's the average time for addressing this? For instance, here's on this, we have these KPIs over here. And you start to look at average first response time, average time to assign, average. If you want that kind of information, it's there and it's available for you in the system. So we can make these systems as simple or sophisticated as you need for your particular situation. Now, also, if you want to jump into the pool with NITRO Studio, you can, and you'll see that, say, here's a purchase request system, NITRO Studio, here's access request. This is what's underlying. It's available to you. If you're in access request, you go to, in this case, you go to NITRO apps. But I mean, it's what underlies this program. And here's where you set up the form to look like. Here's where you set up your custom actions. Here's where you set up your workflow. Now, the request management we provide has a lot of that set up for the basic processes of approve, assign, fulfill. But if you want to modify it or send different notifications or you have particular requirements, we'll either work with you to build it that way, or you can jump into NITRO Studio if you have that inkling or, like affinity for doing that, and then set it up that way, the way you need without us being involved, because you have full access to this as part of your request management system. So it's really about, Krista was saying, about having this conversation. What kind of tasks you want to manage, what kind of requests. We've done so many for so many people over the years that we have a really good library of what's possible, different kinds of workflows, different kind of setup. Now, before, I want to show you a couple other things as part of this demonstration. One is James. James is there, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, good. All right. So we talked about Teams integration. We talked about other ways to create, other ways to interact and going into SharePoint. Well, email, of course, you send emails back and forth. You can send an email from here and record the whole history of it and all that. And that's one way to interact with a customer, with the requester. But another way is the Engage bot, which is in Microsoft Teams. I'm in the web version of Teams. This could be your desktop or mobile version, same thing. And now James, what we set up for this demo is that James is going to make a purchase request, and I'm the manager of James. So do you want to show you the screen? Well, let me show you what it looks like. You want to show that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, here. Let me make myself present. Hang on a second.
You got that? Yeah.
Yeah. Much too clean. Okay. Make sure I get the right thing. Okay. And make sure I'm sharing the right thing.
Yep.
Yes.
I see that NITRO Engage. Yep.
Yeah, so I've already filled out some of the details here. We're kind of preparing. There's a new, I need a new iPhone. It's a hardware type of purchase. It's a high priority, and it's an iPhone 13. My old one keeps failing. No, just whatever happens. And then all I need to do is enter the quantity. Well, I only need one, but of course, if you're buying other things, you could add other a number of other quantities. If you want to buy a whole bunch of laptops for your department, then you could do that as well. It's going to submit, and then here you want to switch back over to your screen once I see its purchase request created successfully.
Yeah, so you got a notice back. Now, the other thing, you could get an email saying that other people could be notified that this thing's been, this request has been made, whatever it is, HR or maintenance request, whatever. We're looking at a purchase request right now, but notifications can go out at that point and be part of the auto what do you call it? Auto assignment of the auto notification, auto replies, those kind of things. Now on my side, I'll switch back to me over here. Here we go. Make myself presenter, and then show my screen again. I'll make sure I'm showing the right screen. Yep, show my screen. Now you'll see that. Wait a minute, do we see it?
Yeah, that's the one I just submitted. My old one keep failing. That's why I put in there.
Right. This. You're seeing the screen, right? Just make sure it doesn't. Yeah, you're seeing the screen too. Right. So me as manager, now James didn't even enter in he was manager, but it knew from the system internally knew that it was I was the manager, the Scott R account, and so it sent me this card saying, do you approve of this? Approved, and I send back, and this could be all set up, set up in the NITRO workflow configurations of what the card's going to say. If I want to look at the item itself, I can click here and go to the browser, in the browser to that purchase request itself, or I can just go ahead and approve it and say approve task, comments, sounds good, whatever's necessary, and approve it. And then it goes back to James. And it would say, did you get something? You should get something in short time that says it was approved.
Yes. Yeah, it'll take a minute to come through, but I will get something on my side.
Right. And then what we were doing also with this is that when it's approved, of course, it's in the backend SharePoint list as approved, but also we were sending something to Teams. Let's see if we still have that going on. I didn't check for this demo, but we have this purchasing channel. And let's see if purchasing, if they're purchasing using Teams, if it said that, let's see, if it's here somewhere that James has been approved.
We might not be working there anymore.
Yeah. But we had this thing going for a while. I should have checked it before. But see, we also can have like the purchase request showing up in Teams right here. The whole list of purchase requests form here inside of Teams. So if you're using Teams, talk to us on how you want to use it. If you want to use Teams to make the purchase request, you can see this, many different ways of presenting information inside of Teams, inside of these pages that are here. So you're really looking at basically back-end SharePoint, but through Teams, you're able to make this purchase request or see your list of requests if you want, or approvals or whatever. So, I'm trying to say the Teams integration works several ways. There's a NITRO Engage bot for the user to create one, for the manager to approve it. There's also, you can use a Teams, like if you have a purchasing or HR team or IT team, the item's going to show up there notifying them that a purchase has been made. You can also use these Teams web pages to create and view lists of purchase of whatever request it is. I'm happy to use purchase request in this case, but it could be any kind of request. And then see how this was approved back a while ago. The same thing would happen if we had set up our demo in this case to do it for this demo. I knew it was doing it previously and I just didn't check, but it was setting up to approve once the purchase is approved, purchasing or procurement would get a message in Teams that it took place. So we're really integrating everything with Teams. A person could be totally in Teams and get all the information that they need, and meanwhile the information is kept in the back end. Now you got something that said it was approved, right, James?
I did not. So we'll have to check that in the workflow, but it normally would.
Yeah.
It normally would send a card back, and so that's just something we need to verify and check. In the actual implementation of it, but yeah, it would notify me.
Well, the point is, upon approval, we're running a number of workflows that can inform the end user, can inform the Engage bot, can inform the Teams channel, many different ways. Now that's one way. Now, if we go back to the access request system that I'm talking about, jump over from purchase to access request, James can show. James, you have the mobile thing you can show. You were going to show. You know, you can
Yep.
either use the camera, show your mobile. All right. What we want to do here is show that using a mobile device, you can access. If say you had an access request or purchase request, whatever. Do you want to show that, James?
Yes, yes. Just give me a moment here. Let's see. Make sure I choose the right thing here. Hang on a second. All right, there we go. Now you should be seeing my
Yep.
my mobile screen. So this is, I'm casting my mobile screen to the computer. So this is what's actually appearing on my mobile device. So we've linked up this access request portal to the mobile app that we have. It's available in Android, working on getting it in iOS. And we have a couple of links here to a new access request or view. I clicked on new, and you get a new form to fill out for access request. Now that could be, similar to the Nitro forms we were looking at earlier. This could be customized to the nth degree of what you want to show on it, how you want it to show. And because Nitro Forms has mobile responsiveness built into it, and even a preview of what the mobile form would look like, you'll know what your users will be seeing when they open this up. So that's what is shown here. So the user can simply fill it out, type in their, keyboard would pop up, and they have the title
Yeah.
to fill out. What type of change request is it? It's an access request. So is it adding, modifying, or revoking a request? Is it to an application, or what's it to? And then we can fill out all this information and have as much or as little for the person to fill out. And then they can have other links up here to other places. So you can go back to the portal home, but we can also show other web parts on here, such as the view my request link. There's other links we could show, reports we could show. We could build a whole kind of dashboard interface here in the mobile device as well. So there's quite a lot we can do here in the mobile interface.
How about view my requests? So it'd be showing you what requests and
Yeah,
the status of those and everything like that. Yeah.
right. In our list view web part, this one's not configured for it specifically, but there is a mobile,
Yeah, mobile
our
option.
mobile options in the list view web part that would show a little nicer than this. So again, we didn't quite get it up to speed for this workshop, but it is, or webinar, but it is possible to show this in a much friendlier way.
Yeah. So what we're showing here is that you can use email, you can use SharePoint, you can use Nitro Forms, you can use Teams, you can use the EngageBot, whatever works, depending if you got a mobile force or you've got a Teams oriented force or you've got, many, many different ways you can submit the request, and then the workflows take it from there, keeping everybody notified and alerted. And when a status change, or even when something's not been modified for 3 or 4 days or whatever, whatever, we're checking SLAs in the sense of, what's the first response time if you want that. We have manager dashboards. In fact, that's something that we have built for other systems. I don't think it's in the mobile thing you're doing now, where we're showing dashboards on the mobile screen too and reports. So all kinds of
It's all
interesting
possible.
things. Yeah, all that's very possible to do. So and it could be a mobile device, it could be a tablet, a laptop, any kind of device you want to automate the task. And what we find is when we implement this for people, the users adopt it right away because they want to get off the old systems and they want to get more information. It's like we said earlier about speed, efficiency. An important thing is transparency. It's a very costly for the request managers and task managers to have to get responses from requesters or users. Where's my thing? What happened? Where is it? And everybody scrambles to find out, when you could have it right at your fingertips, whether in the desktop, SharePoint, or Teams, or on the mobile device. All these things are very possible with this task management system in different ways. And it's really, the power from all this comes not only from Microsoft 365. We got to give them credit, Microsoft, of course, and SharePoint for all things they're doing. But more important is that it is coming from the NITRO Studio that we've built on top of this. Now I'm trying to make myself presenter, so let me do that. Request denied. Okay, no, that's not what I want. I want request. What do I do? I hit the wrong thing. Now it's show my
Yeah.
screen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I kicked it over to you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, there we go. So you see the screen now, access requests? You see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if we look at, just, and we can finish it up in a few minutes, but anyone who was on this, we got a lot of interest in this automation, this IBPA, intelligent business process automation, using our NITRO Studio and this let's have a call. We'll do a, it's not a hard sell. It's just that if it's going to work for you, it's going to work. And we have these capabilities to help automate your processes, not only HR, IT, work orders, equipment tracking, anything like that. We've done it for so many organizations, and it's always been beneficial to them. But just to be quickly, here we are, say, in the NITRO Forms, and we're going to look at the NITRO Forms Designer briefly. You're not getting too in depth in it, but just to show you that you can make these forms look how you want. We can do it for you if you wish. Make it how you want. It depends if users need to look exactly like an existing paper form. But there's all these capabilities of how to lay it out, what controls are on it, what actions. This is really good. What kind of custom actions and things you can do. Then the other nut part of it is the custom actions and the workflows. The custom actions give you ability to create different actions. Click a button on the form or on the SharePoint list or even on the mobile device, and it's going to launch a certain flow that you developed here. This is very, very simple one. It all does is send a notification, but there's many, many other kind of actions you could do in sequence or do in loops. We have the loop. Where is it? Right here, the loop control. Here it is, loop control. You can do or create a gateway where there's a decision. It goes in one direction. If yes, say the status is this or the status is that. It goes in different directions, and you create these very, these could be very simple or very elaborate workflows. And here you're going to send out what message you're going to send out to the people, how you're going to configure that mail template, who gets notified under what conditions. So this is all done without going too deep into NITRO Studio. There's a lot here and very powerful. This is what powers up and why you should go with Crow Canyon as, our NITRO Studio as the solution for request and task management. And because we give you incredible range of power that's going to increase the efficiency and productivity to manage those things. That if you're using any outdated solution, old email spreadsheets, paper forms, legacy solutions like Access, Notes, or InfoPass, or you got some enterprise software that just costs too much money, not worth it, then switch over to use M365 more better. Use M365 in a much better way, as well as Teams, and bring this kind of new paradigm, new way of working to your team. And then as with this ability to migrate from, say, email and other things to Teams, to SharePoint, to mobile, you're going to find it a lot more efficient. So I think we're good there, James. I mean, there's a lot more we can go into. If anybody wants to contact us directly, hopefully, we'll be sending, like Krista said, we'll send out emails. And for us, it's just really fun, exciting, and this is what we do all day long, is help people run their organizations and businesses more efficiently. Really seeing what value we can bring using the M365, the NITRO Studio we developed, Microsoft Teams, and now also the newest things that we're building right now are the AI tools that I think are going to make a substantial difference, especially in our help desk. We have NITRO Help Desk, NITRO Service Desk we're coming out with soon. That's going to have a lot of AI power in it, AI-powered knowledge base, AI-generated emails, form design, using everything we can from Microsoft's extensive set of AI tools, and bringing that to you guys, to whoever, bringing what we can through our NITRO Studio, through our development work, to make it your business and organization run more efficiently. I think we're good with that, James. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good. I think it's a good stopping point. And like I said, if you want to learn more, certainly reach out, and we'll happy to have a conversation with you.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending, taking the time out today. Appreciate it, and hope to hear from you soon. Okay, thanks, James. Okay, bye-bye.
Yep, thank you. Bye.